that occurred from a game against the Dallas Mavericks, their last home game they played. It was in the fourth quarter. Kawhi Leonard is on a minute restriction, and sources told me that when he was guarding Klay Thompson, he was struggling when he got into the game after sitting down for a while. He was struggling keeping up with Klay Thompson. And so there was a timeout call late in that fourth quarter. And during the fourth quarter, during that timeout, Chris Paul went to Kawhi Leonard and said, "Hey, man, are you fresh enough? Do you feel good? Do you feel like you can stick with Klay Thompson?" And he asked the teammates, he said, "Hey, y'all might want to switch this. Wait till he gets warm until he goes and guards Klay. Klay is killing, had about 5-6 threes at that point." And so they ended up switching the matchup, the assignment. And so the next day, Jeff Van Gundy, assistant coach for the Clippers, he called a meeting with Chris Paul on the plane the next day, and he asked Chris Paul if he changed up the defensive assignment yesterday. Chris said, "No, I didn't change up the assignment. I just suggested, hey, we might want to have somebody else guarding Klay right now because Kawhi is not warm yet." And so I was told that Jeff Van Gundy told Chris Paul, "Listen, you might have had leeway in other places to be able to, to change up defensive coverages, but you don't have that leeway here." And that was just one of the minor verbal incidents between Jeff Van Gundy and Chris Paul. That was one of a few in this brief span with the Clippers.
Just speaking on this specific incident that Chris is talking about, I've had those conversations with guys as we're leaving the huddle. Hey, let's try to look at this. Let's try to look at that. That's based on the trust that I've built with those guys, and that's based on the trust that I've built with the coaching staff. I am one of those guys that I will refuse to let one guy take down 15. So if you're the one guy that's disrupting the locker room, you have to go. But that's also a situation where if Chris Paul is the one guy, he still deserves an opportunity to sit down with the head coach and figure it out. I'm not going to backpedal on that. I'm standing by that. As a former player, T. Lue, who's been in that locker room, it should be an open door policy for all players, whether you agree what they got to say or not. It should be an open door policy, eye-to-eye communication, man to man. And whether we agree or not, we at least got it off our chest. There's been plenty of times that me and Spo have been in that office. We did not agree, and we still ain't agreed. 10 years later, I'm retired, and we would not agree about certain things, but we got it out. And it was over with, and it was based on both of us and all of us wanting the same thing. At the end of the day, the Clippers want to win. They ain't doing much of it. So what the hell is wrong with Chris Paul just making one adjustment? I don't agree with it being handled like that. But once again, I will say this. If Chris Paul was the guy that was being disruptive and he did not get the chance to have that conversation with the coaches, then he got to go. But he did not have that opportunity to have that conversation. And that's why I draw the line.
Yeah.